It told me the complete opposite. And hi. Hello, and welcome to The Jib. This bi-weekly podcast is about the many and varied schemes of the many and varied U.S. law enforcement and intelligence agencies, organizations, and committees, and how they are stupid and funny. Join us on our merry journey through space and time. Hi, my name is Barry, and I have a cold, and that's why I sound like this, but I'm going to power through because I'm a goddamn professional.
That's right. He's going to do this with the power of Coke.
The power of Coke.
Not the proper kind, but you know.
No, this is, no.
Yeah.
Imagine me on cocaine. Fuck me.
No, I don't want to.
No, me either. No, man.
Hi, everybody. I'm Seamus, and you may know me as the guy that absolutely despises Lowe's. Don't have strong enough terms to explain how much I fucking hate the Philadelphia Flyers. Yet, I follow Gritty is the Way on Twitter. If you know Gritty is the Way on Twitter, you understand why I follow him. So.
Flyers. Now, I believe that's the name of a
knew you were going to do
sports
this.
team.
I knew you were going to do this.
That's because you keep trying to convince me. Seamus, let me tell you what Seamus did, right? He said, oh, there's some guy who plays for the Penguins, and I'm supposed to believe the Penguins is a real team, right? What kind of team in their right mind would call themselves the Penguins, right? So he says, oh, check out this guy. So I look up this guy who's got an interesting life and so on. Seamus has somehow got into Wikipedia and edited all the names of whatever team this guy is playing for into Pittsburgh Penguins. And the commitment, it's still there. It's still there. It hasn't been edited back yet. And the amount of time and effort he's put into pretending that the Penguins are a real, ice hockey, is it? A real ice hockey team.
You know what you do.
It's good. It's good.
Stop any time there, Barry.
You really hate when I talk like that, don't you? It really bothers you.
Make fun of my team.
I'm making fun of your team. I'm making fun of the name of the team because it's a stupid name. Anyway, I'm sure they're delightful and kids get along with them. Anyway. We're not here to discuss fictional sports teams, are we?
No. And this is not going to be a fun episode.
No.
We will try to laugh. We will try to laugh.
Yeah.
But, it's rough.
There are rough bits.
It's a rough one. So,
yeah.
We have the opening bits always like, and they're fun and stupid sometimes. Like,
yeah,
this is just bad.
Yeah, I'll be honest. That paragraph that we wrote to describe the podcast, that's really just supposed to hook you in. Because if I told you this is going to be gut-wrenching and awful, that's not cool. So it is a bit. This one is a bit.
Yeah. And this is the first time that I've done an episode with only one computer, so I will be struggling. So apologies ahead of time, folks. So, anyways, here we go. April 11th, 1925. Viola Gregg was born in a small town known as California, Pennsylvania. She's the elder daughter of Eva Wilson, who's a teacher, and Herbert Ernest Gregg, a coal miner. Her mother had a teaching certificate from southwestern Pennsylvania, and she left school in the 8th grade. So mom did a little bit of homeschooling out of the gate, right? During the Great Depression, the family moved to Georgia. Not long after doing so, her father lost his hand in a mining explosion.
Oh.
Yeah. We've talked about the mining stuff. It's not safe.
Yeah. And the wars, the fucking actual all-out wars, yeah.
Her family became solely dependent on her mother's income, who struggled to find anything other than a short-term teaching position. When Viola was 6, the family decided to move from Georgia to Chattanooga, Tennessee, where her mother found a full-time teaching position. The family's living conditions were still terrible, though. They lived in a one-room shack with no running water. Living in poverty in Tennessee, though, for much of her childhood and adolescence, Viola saw firsthand the racially segregated nature of the South. It's called foreshadowing, folks.
It is called foreshadowing.
In 1941, the Gregg family moved to Michigan. During WW Deuce, was on.
Did you say WW Deuce?
Yeah, Deuce.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
The duo.
Yes. WW Twain.
Yeah, Twain. There you go.
Mark Twain.
And her father got work assembling bombs with one hand, I guess, at the Ford factory. Viola dropped out of high school after a year and eloped at the age of 16. Normal back then, I guess. Her marriage, though, did not last, and she returned to her family. 2 years later, her family moved to Detroit, which was segregated by race. In the early 1940s, there was violence, rioting, between ethnic groups in the area. This was in large part due to tensions between whites and blacks, who were then competing for jobs and housing in the city. Then Viola was given a close-up of racial issues in America.
So another foreshadowing. That's something Garth Marenghi says, in his books and his shit. So Garth Marenghi, he'll say it. He'll say, "By the way, this is foreshadowing."
Darkness.
Yes.
In 1943, she married the manager of a restaurant where she worked.
Wait. She got married first in.
Yep.
Oh,
When she
so
was
that marriage
16.
did not last at all.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yep. This
Sorry,
is marriage number deuce.
All right.
So she marries the manager of a restaurant. They have two kids, Penny and Evangeline. Sorry, Evangeline.
Lovely Evangeline. Penny, what lovely names.
They divorced in 49, so 5 years.
You did better there. Well done.
So I'm sorry, 6 years. My math is off.
It's more than any of my marriages lasted. I can't complain about that.
So far, yes.
Yeah.
These 2 years later, Viola married Anthony Liuzzo. Barry, how was it?
I just looked up a CBS report, and then I looked up some other report in the hopes of thing, and I am given to understand that the consensus is Liuzzo.
Liuzzo. So
which is not what I have guessed from looking at it. I would have said it's Italian, and I would get like Luzzo, like that. Luzzo.
Oh, I'm again. This is again my failure of not having another computer. So
the Americans say Liuzzo.
This is her as an adult.
Yeah,
so,
she looks like a movie star.
Right, she's kind of hot there. And this is her husband there, Mr. Liuzzo.
He looks like a movie star, but a movie star regardless, like Willie Loman. Right, he's like the everyman, but the movie star version of everyman. Yeah, they look fantastic together, don't they?
Right, well, nice little happy couple. I had a picture with them and the kids, but apparently didn't load it. But his name is what did I say his name was? I think it's Jim, isn't it? Anthony. I think he goes by Jim though. Anyways, he's a
Tony.
He's a Teamsters Union business agent.
An Italian Teamsters. Yeah, he's Tony.
Yeah, shock. They had three
He's
children.
Close to being called Sal.
Racist. They had three children together, and he also helped raise the other two kids. So he's a
nice. He's a stand-up guy.
All counts good dude. In '62, Viola trained to become a medical laboratory assistant at the Carnegie Institute in Detroit, also called Detroit. Around this time, she makes friends with a black woman named Sarah Evans.
Oh, she has a black friend. How great.
Yeah, I mean, she actually has one, not,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was just being stupid.
Yeah, not like the girlfriend in Canada that I only see on Saturdays. They had met her. They had met at the grocery store where Viola worked as a cashier and kept in touch. She ends up hiring her to help with the childcare, and after taking on more, she promoted her to full-time nanny and housekeeper.
This is alarmingly close to a racist episode. Now she has a black friend, and she's hired her as a housekeeper.
Yes. She's just not referring to it. Well, I'm not going to make that joke. The two women had grown up in the South, and they found that they both had similar views on the issues, including support of civil rights movement.
Oh, so they're basically on the same page, then that's good.
Yeah. Then in 1964, she began attending the first Universalist Church of Detroit and joined the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, otherwise known as the NAACP. Viola helped organize.
Join that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
I thought only black people were allowed to go join that.
Yep. Viola helped organize Detroit protests, attending civil rights conferences, and worked with the NAACP on such things. She protested against Detroit's laws that allowed black students to drop out of schools more easily. We touched on this a little bit in the Fred Hampton episodes. She temporarily withdrew her own children from school to express her opposition to the law, right? That's pretty bold, right? Because she publicly homeschooled them for 2 months, she was arrested. She pled guilty in court and was placed on probation. Yeah.
So she's got balls of steel.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. That's what the kids today would call using your privilege.
Yeah.
She used her privilege to help people.
So we sort of have almost two top tens in this episode. Don't
Okay.
vary in a way. But the first top, it's time for the first top 10. In the early 1960s, you may have known of this, Barry Amatic, that in the South there's some shit going on, and it was called Jim Crow.
Jim Crow.
The Jim Crow system and transracial inequality in all aspects of life, from education and employment to housing and public accommodations. And it is this week's top 10. So, if you don't mind there, Mr. Barry Manilow, you can check off the top 10 for us.
Okay. Based on the script you sent me. Here we go. Here's the top 10 things that went down during Jim Crow. 1877, Reconstruction of the South, leading to the withdrawal of federal troops from the region. This withdrawal effectively allows southern states to enact laws that disenfranchise African Americans and enforce racial segregation. That's, I guess, the start of the Jim Crow thing, right?
Yep, that was because of the Tillerson Hayes election, and it was a tie, much like the Al Gore George W. Bush thing, and instead of trying to they try to ration it out, right? So basically, the Democrats said, "Okay, we'll let you have the White House, but you got to give us the South back."
Yeah, the Democrats
okay.
the Democrats were the old school Republicans at the time.
Yep. So they're like, "Okay, sorry, black people. Good luck with that."
Mm.
There you go. And that's what the
Reconstruction ends.
Yep.
It was the era of carpetbagging and all that kind of business.
Yep.
Right. In number 2, or I guess 9. How are we doing this, backwards or forwards?
However you would have cut it.
1896, the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Plessy versus Ferguson established the separate but equal doctrine, which allows for racial segregation in public facilities as long as they are purportedly equal. In reality, facilities for African Americans were often inferior. No shit, they were. Plessy versus Ferguson does sound like two manufacturers of tractors deciding who gets to own the engine, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't. Separate but equal. What a load of shit. Separate but equal. That's another way of saying not equal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. In 1915, the film Birth of a Nation is released, glorifying the Ku Klux Klan and perpetuating racist stereotypes of African Americans. Have you seen that movie?
I've seen clips, unfortunately.
Me too. I've never seen the whole thing, but
I don't want to be subjected to that. So
I'd give it a solid 7 out of 10. In the 1930s, the Great Depression.
It is in the top 100 of all time. AFI, so it makes the list every year.
I think it's more because of its position in the importance of film rather than that's any good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was often a favorite of Woodrow Wilson. I know that. So.
I know that too. Yeah, that's disturbing. You know the Hitler movie? What's it called? Der Triumph des Willens.
Oh, is that the propaganda film?
Yes. Leni Riefenstahl made a movie of the Nuremberg rally called Triumph des Willens, meaning the triumph of the will, which is a very Nietzsche phrase.
Yes.
And when you should watch the movie, not because we love Nazis, but it's just a triumph. Tell you what it's a triumph of. It's a triumph of movie making. Every frame of it, every scene of it is beautifully shot, and everything is like Nazis are great. That's like the thing you're getting through.
That's a film that's a favorite of G. Gordon Liddy. So,
well, G. Gordon Liddy had a thing about Nazis, I think, in general.
He had an extreme thing about Nazis.
Yeah.
He talked more about Nazis than Hitler did. Hitler would have told him to calm the fuck down.
Yes. If you look at the White House Plumbers show, you'll see when Howard Hunt goes around to his house and the guy's playing the Blumenlied or whatever on the radio, and they're all speaking German in the house, and it's just
and he compares everything to the SS. You know what this reminds me of? Yes.
Yeah. He's not like that anymore, though, is he, Liddy?
He's dead.
Is he? When did he die?
A while ago, I think.
He had a show on Fox.
He's been dead.
I saw him on interviews, and he seems kind of normal. And later,
he was hawking gold and stuff. So
yeah. But he doesn't seem like as crazy as he was in the 70s.
He still says some shit. But anyways, There's
a movie called Leni Riefenstahl's Triumph of the Will, and you should watch it. Not because you agree with fascism or anything, but it's very interesting to see how propaganda movies are made. And look at the angles and the shots and what she chooses to put in there and how they're presented. It's just beautiful. Obviously, never do that, but it's a great movie from that point of view. That's not why we're here. In the 1930s, the Great Depression exacerbates racial tensions as competition for scarce resources intensifies. Of course, you'll always, whoever's on the top of any pyramid in capitalism, They will find a way to get the people in the bottom of the pyramid fighting against each other. Right? It's how it works in this country right now. It's how it works in America. Like here now, we have like a lot of people who find it hard to get jobs, like working class people. And some of them are somehow being convinced into blaming immigrants for the shitty government.
Oh yeah, same here.
It's just right. So the Great Depression, when things get hot, people get worried. And how am I going to feed my family? They get scared, and they take. When you're scared, you make poor decisions. In 1954, the landmark Supreme Court case, Brown versus Board of Education, declares racial segregation in public schools unconstitutional, overturning the separate but equal doctrine established by Plessy versus Ferguson. That's not the same thing where they said about the monkeys being taught in evolution, is it? Brown versus something else. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the Schofield.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Brown versus Board of Education declares racial segregation in public schools unconstitutional in 1954. 1954, folks. So in other words, Stalin had a 20-year run where he could point at America and say, "Look at these undeveloped, uncivilized savages," right?
Yeah.
And he did. In 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat to a white passenger on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama, sparking the Montgomery bus boycott, a pivotal event in the civil rights movement. Boycott is a word that comes from Ireland. There was a landowner called Charles Boycott, and he fucked over the local people so badly that they all refused to talk to him. Seriously, just wouldn't talk to him. When he said to them, they blanked him completely. That's Rosa Parks, and Rosa Parks did that intentionally. It wasn't accidental, and she had a few runs at it to try it until it kicked in. And
she wasn't even the first.
No.
There was somebody in the same group that she was in that did it before her too. But
someone said that to me on Twitter once, thinking it removed, it detracted from what she did. Oh, did you know that whole thing was arranged? I fucking hope so.
Well, yeah.
Because otherwise you're like,
you're after the results. You know what I mean? That's all that matters.
Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, she's right too. In 1960, the sit-in movement begins when 4 African-American college students stage a sit-in at a segregated Woolworths lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina. Have I seen a photo of that?
Yeah.
I have seen a photo of it. A rather depressing photo. In 1961, the Freedom Rides commenced, with activists challenging segregation on interstate buses and in bus terminals across the South. In 1962, James Meredith... Yeah, white people. I mean, I know this is about black people, but, white people also, were a part of this.
Sure, but most of them were on the other side of it, though, Barry.
I mean, the white people who were on the black people's side, And because I told you, I don't know if I told you this, but my aunt was in South Africa during apartheid, and my aunt was a white lady. And she was raising 2 boys, and she had to leave South Africa because she saw what the effect of the apartheid was having on the 2 boys. They started to, you don't have to, when you have an apartheid system, you don't have to tell people that black people are second-class citizens. They pick it up.
Right.
Like there was a television show, they had a black maid, right? And there was a television show that the black maid liked to watch. And my aunt said, you know what? And she didn't have a television. So my aunt said, look, you can watch this show here if you like. And she said, okay. But she went outside and watched her through the window. And my aunt said, what are you doing? And she said, after 6 o'clock, she says, it's illegal for me to be inside a white person's house.
Oh, what the fuck?
So if I want to watch this show, I have to watch it through the window. And my aunt said, don't be silly, she said, come on in and watch it in here. I'm not going to report you. And the lady said, and this is how the system works, folks. When you think about systems, this is what we mean by systemic racism.
Yeah.
This is how the system works. Come on into my house and watch inside my house. And the black lady told her, if I go into your house and watch the show, you're the one who's going to get arrested, not me.
Yep.
They will put you, the white person, in jail for this, not me. Me, they'll just beat the shit out of her and send back home.
Yeah.
You're the one breaking the law here. You're going to get in trouble if I, the black person, go into this. And that's what systemic racism means. It means a system that's in place that can make good people do shitty things. Right? Like you see it all the time. You see that a lot in Israel as well. Israeli Jews, most of them are, well, no, I'm not talking about the bad people, the Zionists. I'm talking about good Israeli Jews find themselves caught up in this system because they're in an apartheid system. They're good, kind people, and they still have weird views about Arabs and Palestinians and so on. Anyway, the point is, systemic racism is a bitch.
It's bad.
It is. The freedom
radical point, radical take there, right? Yeah.
Radical take, yeah, we don't like racism, though. But even racist people say that now.
Yeah.
If you say Klan people,
Well,
are you racist?
well,
No,
they
we're
say
not
racist
racist.
shit.
Yeah.
Well, they say racist shit.
Um,
Yeah.
In 1962, James Meredith becomes the first African American student to enroll at the University of Mississippi, sparking violent riots and federal intervention. In 1963, the Birmingham Campaign, including mass protests and civil disobedience, draws national attention to segregation and police brutality in the South. Martin Luther King Jr., I don't know if you've heard of him. He's well known in America. Martin, Martin Luther King Jr. delivers his famous letter from Birmingham jail, which, by the way, if you haven't read it, is a banger. A low-key slam on white people all the way through it. Good for him. Right? It's great. Letter from Birmingham jail is a great read. And as always in our top 10s, we usually have a bonus fact, don't we?
Yep.
And
this time's no different.
This time's no different. In 1964, in our bonus fact, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is signed into law, prohibiting discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. However, resistance to desegregation persists. Did you word it like this? It's the Wikipedia word. It's so understated. However, resistance to desegregation persists in many southern states. Yeah, Lyndon Johnson I think he was all right about that. And so was Robert Kennedy.
Yeah. Lyndon Johnson was incredibly racist despite some of
He was, but he did push for this.
Yeah, he did.
He didn't fight against it at all, even though he himself was. I mean, it's a different. I think you have to respect people like that. There's people who believe things and they'll vote the other way because they know this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
You kind of like that.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you.
Dude.
That's it, right?
I'm not saying I like Lyndon Johnson.
No, I don't.
I'm saying he was in charge. The Civil Rights Act was passed, and it wouldn't have gone through if he didn't want it.
I agree, and there are very, very good reasons to like and hate him. We'll just leave it at that. That is one of the best reasons to like him. One of the very positive. But yeah, that's all right.
But and for my part, I will agree that almost every other fact we know about Lyndon Johnson is a reason to not like him.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're agreed on that.
All right.
Okay. After top 10.
All right. So back at it. In February 1965, a night demonstration for voting rights at the Marion, Alabama courthouse turned violent. State troopers beat the shit out of marchers. Not only did they beat a 26-year-old black man named Jimmy Lee Jackson, they shot him dead as well.
Oh.
This sparked an already loaded powder keg that speared forth the fight for civil rights in nearby Selma, Alabama. You might have heard that. Yeah. Organizers planned a protest to march for Sunday, March 7th, 1965, with the help of some guy called King. Governor George Wallace banned the march, but everybody said, go fuck yourself, and they're going to go do it.
Good. Right.
600 unarmed marchers headed for Edmund Pettus Bridge to cross the Alabama River and go to the state capitol. When the protesters reached the crest, they saw the other side. Outside city limits, state troopers armed with clubs, whips, tear gas, and the county sheriff's posse on horseback. When told to stop and disperse, the marchers also again said, fuck you. Troopers advanced on the marchers, clubbing and whipping them, fracturing bones, gashing heads. 17 people were hospitalized.
What's the state?
It's not Selma. Montgomery.
So they're marching on Montgomery.
Yep.
Okay.
So this was called Bloody Sunday. So everybody's got a Bloody Sunday.
Everybody's got a Bloody Sunday.
Yeah. Sorry, it's an Irish thing for those that don't know.
It's an Irish thing.
Google it. Yeah.
Now it's they have one of theirs and we have one of ours.
That's it. Actually, theirs was before that one, so
not a competition.
Fair. Good point, Barry. Thanks for keeping me grounded.
Thanks for keeping me grounded.
I love
this so much, and I'm in it, which is the best part of it.
Like many observers, Viola was horrified by these images and broadcasts, and published by national media. A second march took place on March 9th. Police and marchers confronted each other at the end of the bridge, but when troopers stepped aside and let them pass, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. led the marchers back to Brown Church. which was their base at the time. Right?
Okay.
He was obeying a federal injunction while also seeking protection from the federal court for the march. Still,
So
there
the
would
federal
be
injunction
violence.
said not allowed to go across the bridge, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still, there would be violence that night. A white group beat up and murdered civil rights activist James Reeb, a minister from Boston.
If you're going to murder somebody, why are you beating them up first?
Right.
What's that about? Just
Anyhow, some people resist when you try to kill them, so that's probably what I do.
rough. Well, you said about that about
some people are not.
a few paragraphs above as well. They beat the shit out of somebody. And shot him.
Then they shot him. So yeah, I think they just beat this guy to death. So
yeah.
March 16th, protest at Wayne State was planned. MLK put forth a call to action prior to this. A call for people of all faiths to come, saying that the struggle was everyone's fight.
Correct.
Sorry, everybody's fight.
Correct. Well, that's the thing about civil rights that I think a lot of people don't understand. Like when you're fighting for the rights of Muslims or the rights of trans people, you're actually fighting for your own rights.
Yep.
You fight for oppressed minorities for very selfish reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because I want to live in a country where these people are not, for one thing, you know. And the thing they tell you about about these people, eventually they will come for you, no matter who you are. Yep. They will come for you. You think being white is going to save you? Hitler loaded up the concentration camps with a load of white people as well as Jews.
Mm-hmm. Leaving her children, leaving her children in the care of family and friends, Viola drove to Selma.
All right.
There, she was put to work delivering aid in welcoming and recruiting volunteers, transporting volunteers and marchers to and from airports, bus terminals, and train stations. She volunteered to the use of a car, which was a 1963 Oldsmobile.
Oh, new Oldsmobiles are in early this year.
That's it. March 21st, 1965, more than 3,000 people began the third march. They were black, white, working class, doctors, nurses, priests, nuns, rabbis, homemakers, students, actors, farmers, all answering MLK's call to action.
It affects everybody.
Yep. Viola marched on the first day.
Oh, hello. Nick Cave.
What Viola
Liuzzo.
Yeah. So she marched on the first full day, returned to Selma for that night. On Wednesday, the 24th, she rejoined the march 4 miles from the end. A celebration took place that night with national entertainers. Viola helped at the first aid station and took 5 days for the protesters to reach the goal of Montgomery state capital.
If I just waited, we would have found out that the state capital is Montgomery.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah. Along the way, other protesters joined, and by the last day, some 25,000 marchers entered Montgomery. The event received widespread media coverage. Viola and other marchers reached the state capitol, which still flew a Confederate flag.
Oh, wow.
Together with the state one, Reverend King addressed the crowd of 25,000, calling the march a shining moment in American history.
Okay, they flew a Confederate flag literally 100 years after it was, right? 1865, and then this is 1965, so it's time to put the flag away, losers.
So, speaking of losers, Barry, let's talk about the Triple Ks.
Like the breakfast cereal?
No, otherwise known as the KKK, and no, I am not talking about the Knights of Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein, okay.
I am talking about
the Ku Klux Klan. Oh, shit.
Yeah, oh, yes, I am.
You have a photo.
Yep, I have a photo.
Wow, that's quite chilling, isn't it?
I actually several photos, but I just stuck to one.
Yeah, that gets the point across.
For folks that don't know, the KKK, otherwise known as the Ku Klux Klan, is a white supremacist hate group in the United States that has existed in various forms since the founding after the Civil War. You might have heard about that war. Axl Rose wrote about it. Here is a detailed history, including key dates, ranks, and structures of the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay, hang on. Yep. We're going to get a quick primer on the Ku Klux Klan, right?
Sorry?
We're going to get a quick primer on the Ku Klux Klan.
Yes, we are.
Okay, go.
Ready? 1865, the Ku Klux Klan was founded in Pulaski, Tennessee by 6 Confederate veterans, John D. Kennedy, Calvin Jones, I'm not going to read all these assholes' names. They're a bunch of assholes. Anyways, Six
Fucked up.
douchebags. They were pissed off about losing the war. We're all a bunch of frat head, bros, right? They were the bros back then. They got bored. They dressed up in sheets, started scaring people, and then they realized, hey, not only can we scare people, we can use our racist bullshit and scare black people. Yay! So that's what they fucking did.
Somebody needs to deal with these uppity N words.
I'm sure they use that phrase a lot, but didn't abbreviate it at the end. Anyways, 67, the Klan expands rapidly across the southern states, using violence, intimidation, and terrorism to suppress African Americans and their allies during Reconstruction. 1968, Nathan Bedford Forrest becomes the first Grand Wizard, national leader of the KKK. We'll get more on what some of these fucking wonderful titles really are. This LARPing Society of Races.
This LARPing Society.
It's 1869. The U.S. Congress passes the Enforcement Act to combat the Klan violence and protect civil rights of African Americans. 71. President U.S. Ulysses S. I Drink a Lot Grant signs the Ku Klux Klan Act, granting federal authorities broader powers to persecute the Klan members. This leads to a decline in the Klan activity and pretty much.
I like that it's Grant that did it.
Right. Yeah. That was a double fuck you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. In 1915, the second iteration of the Ku Klux Klan was founded by William J. Simmons.
Okay, this is important. This is important because a lot of people don't know this. The Klan pretty much was wiped out by the Klan Act. 1915, they kicked up again. They kind of restarted the whole thing again, and they started for very specific reasons as a reaction to certain things that were happening in the country, not because, anyway, go on.
Yep. The Klan emphasized anti-immigrant, anti-Catholic, and anti-Semitic sentiment alongside with their traditional racism, mixing it all together. Right?
Simmons wrote of Italians and lots of Irish people coming to America during that time. The Klan were basically quite Protestant.
Don't forget Asians too. So
and Asians, and they would have been very anti-Irish and anti-Catholic and anti-Italian, and this is why they came up again, as well as anti-Black.
Yep. Oh yeah, can't forget.
But it was really the rise of the Catholics, I think, that annoyed them more than anything else. Is that fair to say? Or?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. So their book is called The Koran.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
That cannot possibly be true.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Are you telling me that their book is called The Koran?
Yes, it is.
Right. I'm pretty sure the first line in it is not anything to do with being compassionate or merciful.
No.
Okay. Well, then that's a fucking insult. And if I was a Muslim, I would be raging about that.
It's the handbook written about the Ku Klux Klan, the version of the Koran. Typically contains detailed descriptions of the roles of different Klan members, as well as detailed Klan ceremonies and procedures. The letters KL were often used at the beginning of words to delineate a Klan association. Would you like to hear some examples?
Not if you're going to say Kloran again. I don't want to hear that anymore.
Kloran. Conversation instead of conversation. Haha, see what I did there? A clavern instead of a tavern.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the local meeting place, right? Cloveries. Jesus was killed on a Clovery. No, sorry.
Okay. Well, they can all clock off as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. So in 19...
Wait. Do they actually say conversation?
Yes.
I mean a conversation between Klan members.
Okay, so you have the Nighthawks, which are couriers, the Klexter, which is the outer guard, the Clargaroo, which is the inner guard, the Clad, which is the conductor, the charge of the initiating of new members, the Clomby, which is the treasurer, the Kilograb. And by the way, if there's anybody I'm offending by not pronouncing these, okay, fuck off. Clabby, yeah, it's a treasurer. Clagrab is the secretary. The Clud is the chaplain. Fucking great. I love that. The Clud. Clocard is the lecturer. The Clayliff is the vice president, and the Supreme Grand Wizard is the president. You have the Invisible Empire, which is the designation including both clan, geography, and the domain.
Okay.
Oh my God, what is
the
this?
Invisible Empire is like all of the clans.
Yeah, which is symbol to be known as the Cloncovis Convocation.
Like a convocation.
Yeah, the realm, which is carried from Reconstruction transcripts.
Okay.
Designed officers were collectively known as the Nine Squares.
Dude,
Providence is the
very
new...
like Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. It's like it's what the actual fuck. Chief officer of the Providence was known as the Great Titan. Plan itself is a base of a unit area of jurisdiction known as the Clanton.
Clanton, okay, like a Canton.
Clanton, yeah.
Okay.
Which are all directed directly under a Grand Dragon or Imperial Wizard.
Of course.
The chief officer of the clan is an exalted Cyclops, and their subordinates are the 12 Terrors.
There we go.
Oh my god, this is just fucking...
Look, there's no way we're gonna win a war against these people. So what we need to do is find two regular, normal guys, give them the ring, and find a way to just smuggle them into the mountain. That'll do it. Yeah.
An alien is a non-member. A nationalization is the clan initiation ceremony. Citizen is a clan member. Passport is a membership card. Banished is an exiled one. Red Dog is a hazing
almost
ritual.
just a separate country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the
They're using country language.
Oh, there's all kinds of weird codes. I'm not going to get that. Class.
If they want to
Clannish
go
loyal.
they need to get a visa.
Yeah. Okay, enough of that bullshit.
Yeah,
So,
brilliant.
Yeah. Back to the rest of this bullshit. So yeah, he wrote the book. 1920s, they reached their peak membership and influence during this period. They boasted about having millions of members across the U.S.
Okay. Again, during the 1920s, the clan reached their peak membership during the 1920s. And if you asked anybody to name a year when the Ku Klux Klan reached their peak membership, it probably would not be in the 1920s.
No.
Right?
20 and 25, Hiram Wesley Evans becomes the Imperial National Leader. Sorry, Imperial Wizard. Apologies. This year is also known for the pyramid scheme that was run on its members. So there's good news there, right? So it pretty much all falls apart because of this big scam.
Oh, no.
Yeah. In the 50s and 60s, the clan resurges again. This is a third era.
Right. And this is another iteration of the clan. It's not the same organization because they've fallen apart twice already, like the Egyptian Empire. If you read about the Egyptian there's different waves of Egyptian empires, and it's not all the same thing. Like the Egyptian Empire of 1800 BC is completely different to the Egyptian Empire of 1000 BC. It's a different organization. With
the Egyptians are far more interesting than a fucking clan, and far more.
Yeah, the Egyptians had their own pyramid scheme.
Yeah, you really worked for that joke. Okay,
Yes,
the clan targeted rights activists, civil rights activists, African Americans, communities, and their allies through violence, bombings, intimidation tactics, Brown v. Board of Education, and the rise of the Civil Rights Movement led to resurgence of the Klan. In 63, the bombing of the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, killing 4 African American girls, brought national attention to the Klan violence. In 64, the Civil Rights Act of 64 further enrages the Klan members, leading to increasing acts of terrorism and intimidation. So, so the Klan is actually pretty fucking active at this point in our story. They're also somewhat active now. Yeah. So, anyways.
Wait, what do you mean now?
Well, with all they themselves are less active, but there's enough white supremacy groups.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, of course.
So, anywho, after the march, we're back to Viola. Viola and 19-year-old Leroy Moten. I believe
is that him?
Yep.
All right, Leroy.
Anyways, Leroy, they decided to shuttle marchers and volunteers from Montgomery back to Selma in her car. Viola was warned by others that this was very dangerous and she should not drive to Montgomery.
Viola does not give a fuck.
Yep, she does not care. So at this point, it's just her and Leroy in the car. They drive around Route 30. Sorry, I said 30. It's 80. I can't read today. To Selma. A car tried to force them off the road. After dropping off passengers, she and Leroy headed back to Montgomery. While getting gas at a local filling station, they were subject to abuse of racial comments by customers.
You're the customer.
Because there's a white woman and a black guy together, you know.
Oh, you know what they call them? They call her an N-word lover.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Shortly after this, Viola was stopped at a red light. Leroy's still in the car, right? And when they're stopped, when the car stopped, four white men pulled up next door. Also, these men were members of the local Ku Klux Klan. And when they saw a white woman and a black man together, they followed Viola as she tried to outrun them. They overtook the Oldsmobile and then shot directly at Viola, hitting her twice in the head. The car veered off into a ditch and crashed into a fence. The bullets missed Leroy, but he was covered in her blood, so he lay motionless, playing dead, as the Klansmen checked their victims. So they pretty much assumed he was dead, right?
Yeah.
As well as her. After they left, Leroy, he beats feet. He flags down a truck. He lucks out. Reverend Riley, who was part of the march, happened to be in the truck, so he helped him, get to the police, and yeah. So, Viola is dead. Her funeral was held March 30th at the Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church in Detroit. Among the attendants were Martin Luther King, NAACP Executive Director Roy Wilkins, Congressman, Congress on Racial Equality National Leader James Farmer, Michigan Lieutenant Governor William Mikan, Teamsters President Jimmy Hoffa, United Auto Workers President Walter Reuther. Most of them are also there because of her husband, right?
Yeah.
So, anyways, before we go further into the rest of the story, I just got to tell you to show you some photos. Some of them are kind of graphic, so stand by, folks. If you don't want to look, don't look. Just
I have not seen these photos.
So that's the vehicle. Yep, the next one's going to be graphic.
Oh, that's the actual photo of the vehicle.
That's the actual photo of the vehicle.
They shot the lady through that window and... Okay.
And that's
dear.
her.
Oh, dear.
Yep.
Oh, Lord. Seamus.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
And then this one here, so you can see the blood outside the window and stuff.
Yeah, so, I can see that.
Yep. So that's don't worry, I'm not going to show you guys any more pictures. At least anything more graphic.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
So those photos are really awful, but they are what happened. They are real, genuine. What happened? No one's fucking staging it with paint. That's what actually happened. So that's where we start with the misery, and then we say, what are we going to do about it, right?
So something you might find interesting there, Bury Me in the Valley. Did you know that that one of those douches in the car that killed Viola was working for the FBI? Weird, huh?
No.
Not a good dude. If you don't know, don't believe me. Wait, let me read this.
Don't believe me? Watch half of our previous podcast.
Yeah, or this one. 24 hours after Viola's murder, J. Edgar Hoover launched a smear campaign against her. He leaked.
Oh no!
I know. False information to the press. Subordinate FBI agents and select politicians claiming that there were, quote, puncture marks on her arm, indicating a recent use of hypodermic needles. She was sitting very, very close to that Negro in the car. That has the appearance of a necking party. So, what by George Michael of Wham do you think of Dear J. Eddie Pie Meat? Huh? What do you think there, Karen?
Well, I was looking at this. The first time I read it, I only figured out what he meant because I read on in your script. Actually, I thought he was making a reference to like a lynching or something.
Nope.
But it's got a sexual connotation, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't figure that out. But now I look at it now, it makes a lot more sense, yeah. It has the appearance of a party.
Yep. Hoover created a file depicting Viola as an unstable woman with unsavory motivations and also painted her husband, it says Jim here, who was a member of the Teamsters Union, as a thug. Surprise that he would say something about somebody in labor. Hoover had his agents leak these reports to the media and ran numerous articles questioning Viola's character and reasoning for being in Selma. Additionally, Selma Sheriff Jim Clark obtained and widely shared a file known as the Lane Report from the former chief of detectives in Detroit. who also questioned Viola's mental stability. In her book, From Selma to Sorrow, The Life and Death of Viola Liuzzo, Mary Stanton states, quote, the Lane report, bolstered by J. Edgar Hoover's self-serving portrayal of Miss Liuzzo as a drug-taking middle-aged adulteress with a black teenage lover, set her repudiation in stone. Yeah, that's fucking great. And we're not done, folks. While attempting to hide the fact that the FBI informant Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. was in the car, the FBI wanted to ensure that the agency was not held responsible for taking part or permitting the murder. Without FBI surveillance or backup, Rowe had been an informant for the FBI since the 1960s. The FBI was aware that Rowe had participated in many violent acts with the KKK. This included an attack on the Freedom Riders in 1961 and having a role mentioned before in the 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Birmingham in September 1963. So this motherfucker's killing people.
We're saying here the FBI, without the FBI surveillance and backup, that this would not have happened, is it?
Right, sure it wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Even though that they know he's doing all this, but whatever. Prior to the shooting, Rowe had called the FBI contact to tell him that he and other Klansmen were traveling to Montgomery and the violence was planned. Planned. Yeah, so we're going to do some shit. During the investigation, the FBI did not test Rowe's gun or the bullet casings for fingerprints. So, don't know if he was a shooter or not. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck cares, right?
Well, it doesn't matter if they relied on FBI intelligence, does it?
So President LBJ, who apparently took this very serious, this news of a white lady getting killed, right? KKK, he didn't like this. So he announced within 24 hours the arrest of 4 Klansmen.
Okay.
He focused on the positive work of the FBI agents solving Viola's murder. The 4 Klan members in the car, Coley Wilkins, the FBI informant Gary Rowe, William Eaton, and Eugene Thomas. The government wanted to divert scrutiny from the fact that one of the men was an FBI informant. At this time, you'd be shocked to know there, Barry, that the gender roles and stereotypes reinforced considerable gender inequality in America's society. Many Americans, both men and women alike, believe Viola should have stayed home, tended to her family, rather than advocating for the voting rights for black people.
Why do you care?
Yeah. Less than 2 weeks after her death, a charred cross was found in front of 4 Detroit homes, including Viola's. Writing cross, of course, is the calling card of the Ku Klux Klan, if you didn't know from that picture before.
Yeah.
In Alabama, bumper stickers started to appear on cars and trucks in Lowndes County where Viola was murdered, saying, open season. White people. The result of the autopsy testing, which was conducted in 1965, revealed that Viola's system did not contain any traces of drugs. It also showed that she had not recently had sex at the time of her death. This destroys the claim made by Hoover, but the result didn't get much circulation in the press that had already painted Viola to be an unruly wife, absent mother, and, of course, Negro lover by the racist whites. Fucking great. Awesome.
Well, you know what they're going to think? Like when they say, if the test shows she has not recently had sex at the time of her death, they're just going to say, so on top of everything else, she's a cock tease.
Jesus Christ, Barry.
That's what they're going to think.
Yeah, I guess so. Wilkins, Eaton, and Thomas were indicted in April 22 in the state of Alabama for Viola's death.
Oh, they were indicted.
FBI informant Rowe was a witness. Rowe testified that Wilkins had fired 2 shots on the orders of Thomas. The Department of Justice charged the 3 defendants with conspiracy to intimidate African Americans under the 1871 Ku Klux Klan Act, which we talked about here before. The charges did not specifically refer to Viola's murder, though. On December 3rd...
Just before you continue,
yeah.
Just pay attention to the other headlines on this newspaper. One says,
God.
Uruguay assails U.S. for Dominican role, and another one says, Latin rebel chief sworn in tells U.S. to go home. Just in case you're wondering what the rest of our podcast is, they're also in the newspaper.
Okay, so that's also probably what foreshadowing of a future podcast episode, I'm sure. Charges did not specifically refer to Viola's murder. On December 3rd, all 3 pricks were found guilty by an all-white, all-male jury that were sentenced to 10 years in prison. Eaton, who had not previously been jailed, died of a heart attack on March 10th.
Oh,
Rest in piss. Rest in piss, you motherfucker. Wilkins and Thomas were free on bail while appealing their cases. They each had been arrested and convicted of firearms violations and sentenced to jail for those crimes. During this period, in January 15th, the 1966 edition of the Birmingham News published an ad offering Viola's bullet-ridden car for sale. Why? They were asking $3,500, and the ad said, quote, "Do you need a crowd getter? I have a 1963 Oldsmobile two-door in which Miss Viola Liuzzo was killed. Bullet holes and everything. Ideal to bring crowds." Gives you the old warm and fuzzies, don't it?
It's an odd pitch to sell that car, not as like a historical document, but as a crowd getter.
It's just so fucking gross.
Oh.
So fucking gross.
The blood is still there. You can still see it if you come up close enough.
Right? White people. Thomas's state.
White people, am I right?
Yeah. Got underway in September 26, 1966. The prosecution built a circumstantial case. The FBI ballistics expert testified that the bullet removed from Viola's brain had been fired from the revolver owned by Thomas. Two witnesses testified, though, that they had seen Wilkinson drinking beer at the VFW hall near Birmingham, 125 miles from the murder scene, an hour or less after Viola was shot. 8 African Americans served on the jury and 4 whites. The jury acquitted Thomas of the state murder charge after 90 minutes of deliberations.
Because of the alibi?
Yeah. State Attorney General Richard Flores, well, we assume that's why. You never know, right? Remember, this is in the South, so shit happens. Criticized the verdict, and on October 27th, 1967, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans upheld the federal convictions of the serving defendants. Thomas served 6 years in prison for the federal charges related to the crime. Rowe, that's him in the back, by the way, walking up the stairs, or walking down the stairs, I should say. He was indicted in 1978 and tried for his involvement in the murder. The first trial ended in a hung jury. The second trial ended in an acquittal. Due to threats from the Klan, both before and after his testimony against them, Rowe went to federal witness protection. He died in 1998 in Savannah, Georgia, after having lived several decades under several assumed identities.
I saw a thing on Twitter during the week that said there's no such thing as the witness protection program. When they put somebody in witness protection, they just shoot them in the head and throw away the body.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Because how would we ever know?
Well, we do know that there's some people who have come forward claiming that they're right. Some mob guys.
None of those people have been verified.
Sure.
The Goodfellas guy was never verified.
True, but there's another guy that's around and out and about now that is supposedly.
Not as funny as what I said.
It is. Anyways, it was not until 1978 that the FBI's role into the smear campaign was uncovered. When Viola's children obtained the case documents from the FBI under the Freedom of Information Act, the family sued the FBI for the death of Viola and associates damages. So, what do you think happened there, Barry, to my man?
I'm going to guess that they did not get the money. I'm going to guess they didn't win the... Yeah, okay. Judge rules against Liuzzo family. Opinion supports FBI's use of paid informants.
Yep. So, on May 27th, 1983, Judge Charles Wycliffe Joyner, what a great name, rejected the claim, saying that there was, quote, no evidence the FBI was in any type of joint venture with Rowe or conspiracy against Miss Liuzzo. Roy's presence in the car was the principal reason why the crime was solved so quickly. What a tool. Yeah. Not only did, so her family lawyer, Dean Robb, said that this was a terrible opinion. I am shocked, and I think this is incredible. I agree. It gets worse. August 1983, the FBI was awarded
what?
$79,873 in court costs.
From the family?
Yep.
The fuck are they going to get 80 grand?
These costs were later reduced to $3,645 after the ACLU appealed on behalf of the family.
ACLU again.
What the actual fuck are those motherfuckers doing to this family? It's bad enough they endangered her and had her killed. Fuck you. Weeks after Viola,
They have to pay the FBI 80 grand for the privilege of killing their mother.
Yeah. Weeks after Viola's murder, Congress was inspired to pass the once stalled Voting Rights Act of 1965. Leroy Morton was interviewed about these events from an article in the Washington Post by Donna Britt in February 27th, 2019. That's him there.
Hey!
Yep. Today, from the article, today Martin sounds matter of fact as he describes the acts of intense racist violence in the months preceding the bill's passage. Quote, they killed Jimmy Lee Jackson. Nothing happened. They killed Boston pastor James Rebb, a white man. Nothing happened. They killed Viola Liuzzo, a white woman. Congress passed the Voting Act.
And there we go. There we have it, right?
Yep. And folks, that is my show.
It's important to use your privilege wherever you can.
Yeah.
And as Martin Luther King said, it's to everybody's benefit to defend minorities, not just the minorities. It's to everybody's benefit.
Yep.
I think about when women's being equal citizens is relatively recent across the world. But 200 years ago, women were definitely, maybe in most places less than that, second-class citizens. But think about all of human history and how we were basically degrading 50% of our populations. Imagine where we'd be right now if women were allowed to do whatever they wanted to do, the same as men are.
Yeah.
All the science and technology and advancements and books and everything, paintings and whatever else women can be doing with themselves. That we've lost now. That's lost to time. Because we said, women, you got to stay at home and mind the kids.
Yep. We could have got more out of Hypatia, that's for sure. But, yeah. Yeah, so that's it, folks. That's the story. But we have other things to talk about now.
Yes, we do. We have to say which news. This is what's new. What we do at the end of all of our podcasts. It's a section where we put CIA and FBI into Google, the letters, and we hit the news tab, and we pick little stories on the results that we think may be funny or interesting. And Seamus will now explain how this works by sharing with us some interesting and funny links he found when he put FBI into Google.
Yeah, I don't know how interesting and funny they are, but here they are. I only have two, folks. This is from what magazine? The Seattle Times. So it was also from the New York Times, but they wouldn't let me read it. Fuck that.
The paywall.
The GOP, the GOP congressman wild claim FBI entrapment of January 6 rioters. Right?
What?
So, the attempted coup.
Was entrapment for like all those people.
Yeah, he's claiming it. This happened a couple days ago. A person drove an SUV into an FBI gate, crashed into it, and basically got arrested. And apparently, FBI gate crash suspect loved Trump and pushed QAnon on social media.
Where was the FBI office he crashed?
You're going to ask me the hard questions, Barry. We can't really talk to you anymore. South California man arrested after barrier car through the FBI gate at Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta.
Back in Georgia on Monday.
All right. Georgia, no peace of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, right, even today. He even wrote, I love you to Donald Trump, according to researchers on social media.
Well, you know what? That backs up what you said about the previous link, and it goes against what I said about the previous link, that the FBI and Trump see themselves as opposed to each other. So maybe you're right about maybe the FBI had something to do with it. Going to have to see some evidence.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not saying that they did. But maybe they had some people that knew some shit. That's all I'm saying. You never know. You just don't know what the FBI had.
I can't imagine COINTELPRO going in that hard on a bunch of white people.
You would think not. I mean, we know that they go hard with BLM, but so anywho, that's really all I got for the FBI. Not much going on there of interest.
Okay. Then we will drift over seamlessly to my CIA links. I have 3 of them today. First one is a subsection to the CIA links, and this is our special little intro to it.
Where the hell is William Burns? William Burns, William Burns. Where the hell is William Burns? William Burns this week.
Okay, from Africa.com. Today, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi met with Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, apparently, according to Africa.com, William Burns.
Mhm.
The meeting was also attended by Director of General Intelligence, Major General Abbas Kamel. So basically, he's in Cairo. That's where William Burns is today.
And I'm sure that has nothing to do with anything in Israel or Gaza. Right?
The meeting focused on the joint Egyptian-Qatari-American efforts to reach a ceasefire in Gaza.
Where the hell is William Burns? William Burns, William Burns. Where the hell is William Burns? William Burns this week.
That's got to get old eventually, but it's not now.
What I want to do is I want to get to a thing where we just play that clip, and then I just go, Uruguay, and then you just play it. The second link is America.
Is it William Burns again? No, okay.
No, it's from newsletter.co.uk. It's the headline is America's CIA. The real border between UK and Ireland is in the Irish Sea. The US Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, says that the de facto border between the UK and Ireland is in the Irish Sea, suggesting the land border is legally recognized but doesn't exist in reality. Now, this might mean nothing to any of you, but let me tell you about the fucking war there is over this in Ireland, right? Because Northern Ireland is a chunk of the country in the United Kingdom, but it's a chunk of the island, I mean, a different country in the north of Ireland, right? And it's historically it's caused all sorts of trouble. But the Unionists in Northern Ireland want to be British and they want to be connected to Britain, even though it's across the sea. So when Brexit happened, they couldn't set up a bunch of passport controls all across the border, because that would, if you have armed checkpoints manned by British army officers, they're going to get shot dead by Irish Republican terrorists, right? Correctly, because fuck them, shoot them dead. That's fine. I'm okay with that.
Careful now.
So instead, they just said kind of, look, we'll say it's here, but really the border's in the Irish Sea. So they do all the customs checkpoints before they get to Northern Ireland. Now, the Unionists this drove them crazy because they find themselves kind of moving gently towards a united Ireland. And they don't want that. They're terrified of united Ireland because they think that Irish people will treat them the way they've been treating Irish people.
Right. Sounds familiar. Familiar. Sounds just like
still lots of places this happens. Yeah. But in reality, of course, Irish Republicans, we think that they're hilarious. We don't want to kill them or treat them badly at all. We just think they're hilarious. Like this, in Ireland, there's a load of Protestants in Ireland, and they don't get any trouble. Like, I think a lot of landowners are Protestant. And we don't give them any shit. We make fun of them, but we don't stop them from doing their business or anything. We don't light fires around them, you know? Like in Northern Ireland, every July, they build these big bonfires and put photos of Republicans and Irish people and Irish politicians and burn them. Like, we don't do anything like that. So that's hilarious, in other words, what the CIA said. Look, we have to be honest and say the real border is down the Irish Sea. Oh, good stuff. United Ireland is edging a little bit closer the whole time. Brexit kicked it into a new dimension, and the Unionists all voted for Brexit, which is even more hilarious. Anyway, the third link is, the headline says, it's from USA Today. It says, CIA says whistleblower allegation touted by GOP and Joe Biden impeachment probe is false. And then the details on that are, in a blow to House Republicans' impeachment inquiry into the president, the CIA refuted a whistleblower's allegations that the agency sought to block a federal investigation into President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, on Thursday. I think what happened was there was no appetite for it, which is not the same thing as blocking it.
Yeah, because there's no fucking evidence. They've exhausted this.
And again, we keep saying this. Again, if Hunter Biden's done something wrong, I think you and me would be fine with sending him to jail. It's not like we're kind of...
Fuck his dad, fuck them all.
Yeah, it's not like we want to save this guy. It's that it seems like a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah.
It seems like a Republican witch hunt based on stuff that was done to them, but the stuff that was done to them involved actual crimes.
So far.
Those are my links, and that's the end of What's New.
Alrighty, folks.
That's the end of our sometimes distressing show, but we got a few laughs in there, didn't we?
I hope so.
And one or two particularly awful photographs.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right, man. We got to tell the truth. It's like the Patrice Lumumba episode, remember?
Oh, yeah.
We got to tell the truth, man. People got to see the truth.
Glad we didn't have any photos of that shit. Well, we had one that was bad.
We had one, and it was bad enough, but not so bad. Yeah. And also, follow me on Twitter, or I'll kill all of you.
Follow us down below.
Or I will find you.
Subscribe, share us.
And I will hurt you
with
my Irish weapons. Oh, is that going to get us banned on YouTube? Because I'll get a robot pick up the thread. No, I'll say I won't. Just follow me on Twitter if you want, of course, with total consent.
It's all a joke.
Yes.
Anyways, we'll see y'all here in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
For those that found us on a different day, by the way. So we will be here from now on. See you, folks. Bye.
Bye.